So the Qi has been translated as the vital energy and life force. So the Qigong basically is the practice of internal Qi cultivation. So Qigong has been practiced for a long time in China, and it's about 5,000 years. It's for self-healing and for healing others and for improving and the quality of people's lives.
Qigong was first discovered. It was used primarily for spirituality and for just maintaining a positive health. And so really it wasn't until modern day when chronic health conditions became prevalent that we started to use Qigong for healing chronic health conditions.
The Yiren Qigong functions as a preventive medicine, is a way of self-healing and self-care, and a way of spiritual growth.
You need to experience this in your body to understand what Qi is and what energy is. And so I really had no idea, but I thought, okay, that's great. And he gave the example of, he could talk all day long about what an apple tastes like, but until you actually taste an apple, you don't have the experience of an apple, and you really don't know what it tastes like. So in fact, we can read all about Qi and Qigong, but until we feel the energy, we don't have a knowing in our bodies. So one of the first exercises was, how to activate. There was a very specific order to how we activated our Qigong and what we did. Well, then the energy came in. And, he had talked about it being subtle energy. Well, I found it anything but subtle. I found it very strong. And it was this strong feeling between the hands, like a magnetic feeling, and a warmth. And I know other people had felt other sensations, like a tingling. And I found it fascinating that this was in the winter when I took the seminar. My feet became warm, my hands became warm. I could feel my lower back getting warm. So I thought, my goodness, my body is waking up. So I feel that the energy is not imagination, because I know some people have said to me, are you sure it's not your imagination? I said, oh no. Once you feel this energy, you have this internal understanding of what Qi is, what vital energy is, or bioenergy, whatever you want to call it. And so you have this deep knowing from your inside. Once you have the experience, you know.
So when people practice Qigong, the Qi is the bridge or media. It can bring the mind and the consciousness of body together. So the Qigong practice enables people to access their memories, emotions, and images and stories, and that already in their body. And so, therefore, and the Qigong practice and provide the opportunity and to upgrade or change our body software, and it can change unhealthy behaviors like addictions, for example. So that is pretty exciting to us, and so able to change the body's memories.
So I was prescribed oral medications, and they didn't work very much, and diet and exercise, of course. Ironically, the more that I would exercise, the higher my blood sugar levels would go. So my medications were increased, and then about a month later they were increased again, and finally they were increased a third time. Still my blood sugars were soaring. At that time my doctor said the next step is to have injections, insulin injections. So this was obviously disheartening to me to hear this information, but I have to admit I wasn't really surprised. I have an extensive family history of type 2 diabetes. My mother died of kidney disease as a complication of diabetes. My father passed away at the age of 48 from heart disease, also caused, at least in part, by the fact that he was a diabetic his whole adult life. My memories in childhood are of small glass vials full of insulin in the refrigerator, and before every meal I would watch as my parents would inject themselves with insulin, even at restaurants, until their bellies were red and they were calloused. On some level, I believe that this was my destiny, that I was following in those footsteps. So when I heard that I was going to be insulin dependent, I wasn't really surprised.
I have understood how the organ system works, and so where the chi comes into play is connecting the mind and the body, and more specifically, connecting the internal organ system. Just as in acupuncture with the meridian system and how that relates to the whole body system. And so through the chi, or the chi network, or we call chi mail or chi communications, we are able to harmonize the organs so that they are communicating with one another, and then sending the messages up to the mind so that we can then intuitively begin to do things that our body needs or that is nourishing for our body. Through these chi communications, the body will begin to produce its own medicine.
In addition to telling me that I needed to relax my liver, Dr. Sun explained to me that although when you think of diabetes, you think of the pancreas and the pancreas not working correctly, the fact in my case was that the pancreas and the liver weren't talking to each other very kindly. They were, a bit in a fight. And so using Qigong, he believed that the study would prove that the pancreas could be empowered and the liver could be relaxed, and the harmony between the pancreas and the liver could be restored. And I found myself doing Qigong not only in the morning, but at really unusual times throughout the day. I found myself doing the Qigong, and really the sessions became more and more powerful.